Hello everyone, welcome on into another episode of Kingdom Hearts Unchanging Armor. We're going to be going through the Hades Cup today. We just completed Hollow Bastion 2, and I decided to hop right into the Hades Cup. It's going to be a little bit different of a video today. Hopefully it's a more interesting one. I thought I would try it out for this because I had a ton of difficulty and a ton of fun playing this Hades Cup with Unchanging Armor. If you don't know what the Unchanging Armor run is, it is a run where Sora, Donald, Goofy, and all the various members that you have their default loadouts, which as the game goes on is a whole lot of nothing. I did not realize how much equipment played a part in your stats in this game. It was a crazy wake-up call for me because I have completed this game at level 1, and while this run wasn't as difficult as that, it was far more difficult than I had imagined when starting, especially completing these 49 rounds of the Hades Cup. Now, as a reminder, you don't actually have to do the Hades Cup. You don't even have to do the Colosseum at all, I don't think. But if you do the Hercules Cup to close the keyhole, then you're pretty much done. They do add these extra challenge cups in there, which I decided to do since I thought it'd be fun. And as opposed to level 1, when you're doing Unchanging Armor, you can level up, which is really good, and doing the cups, especially the Hades Cup, is a great way to farm XP. But, you can do this at any time. You could beat the game when you're much higher leveled, come back, and then do this, and it'd probably be a ton easier. But in the flow of the game, I did this right after Hollow Bastion 2, so I was sitting around level 50, I believe, when I hopped into this. So we'll go through what that looks like, what kind of abilities you might have on hand, how to set up your characters. So we're going to go into the things that you need, or at least I suggested you needed, or at least that I used to help me get through this challenge, because there are some things that are going to make this a lot easier on you guys. So there are a few things I would recommend getting before entering the Hades Cup in order to make it far easier and possibly just doable at level 50 Unchanging Armor. The first thing, and probably the most essential thing you need in this run, is Eroga. It is a 3rd level wind spell, right, to defend yourself from various attacks. You get it from returning all 99 Dalmatians to their homes and then talking to their parents in Traverse Town. They will gift you a little pink box, and it will be Eroga, which is absolutely essential for this. It will negate, it will block, it will send back almost every attack, from the smaller Heartless to even the mini bosses to even some of Hades' attacks. It is an absolute must-have. It makes a lot of the rounds a cakewalk, and you will thank yourself for getting it, even though it can be a chore to find all 99. So the second thing I think you will need is to customize Donald, Goofy, and Sora in a particular way. Now, if you are playing a way that you like to play, that you've always played, and it's working out for you so far, and that's how you like to play, great, yeah, keep doing that. If you've had some problems, or maybe you want to see how I did it, these are the things that I did that helped out a ton, actually, once I switched them over. Mostly what you're going to do is make Donald and Goofy support buddies, so most of their offensive abilities will be turned off or unselected, and they're going to set their use rate to rare, just in case you missed one. For Goofy, who's actually probably the most important buddy in this one, you're going to give him MP Gift and all of the MP boosting abilities that you can. This way Sora will have a constant flow of MP, which you will need because you will be eating up your MP either healing or putting on Eroga, which costs a ton. So make sure he has MP Gift so that you can constantly be casting spells. Donald, you're going to set all of his tabs on the customize page to occasionally, except for defensive magic, which you're going to set to constantly. That is definitely what I would do. So that he uses heal and Eroga as often as possible, hopefully on you, but often it's on Goofy or himself. So that just makes it a higher chance of you getting one eventually at some point, because they can come in real handy. Other than that, make sure they have second wind, second chance, and Leaf Bracer if possible. And kind of same for Sora. Make sure you have second chance is a must, probably, especially when you face Cloud. And Leaf Bracer helps out a ton, as always. In terms of items, I would suggest that you put on heavily on the MP side. It's okay to have a couple. I think I had a couple Mega Potions, but I mostly did Ethers and Elixirs because, again, when all your buddies are dead and you're out of MP, you're pretty much dead. So make sure that you have an Ether in hand so that you can heal yourself up and make sure you're ready to go. The last thing you will need to bring, in my opinion, is patience. If you are doing this challenge, or if you've done another challenge run of this game, Kingdom Hearts level 1, something like that, you know that these things take a while. I personally wasn't prepared. It took me about 3 hours. My thumbs were turning red from mashing X. It was tough. So make sure that you have some time set aside, that you're ready to go, because some of these bosses take 15 to 20 minutes, and if you die, which I did sometimes, you're sent back about 10 rounds or wherever the last checkpoint was, which is usually every 10 rounds. and then getting back to the boss or the mini boss or whatever mob beat you could take another 15-20 minutes, and then you just have to do the 15-20 minute fight all over again. So make sure that you're mentally prepared to do this. It can be very tough. Your physical damage is very low because you don't have equipment and you only have the keyblade. Your magic mainly will be used to keep yourself alive, so you often won't be able to use offensive magics. It's gonna be a slow one, but once you get through it, it's very rewarding. So just bring your patience, be ready to go, and you should be okay. So now we can get into the various seeds that are difficult. Right, with Aroga, most of these are going to be a joke, so we'll just go through the couple that are possible run enders here. Even with Aroga, they are pretty difficult. So to start, seeds 49 through 40 are pretty easy. Like we said, once you have Aroga, most of the attacks just bounce right off of you, so you just put on Aroga at the start, mash X to win, and you'll be fine. The only seed that might give you some trouble is Yuffie at seed 44. She's the same as before, she just throws a couple more kunai and does her DM a bit more often. However, if you're on top of that, the Aroga does not block the DM, so you do have to be ready to guard that. Other than that, the only difference is she doesn't stagger as often, so you can't go combo her into oblivion. That being said though, she does throw more kunai, so you can farm XP off her if you really need to. If you need to go back and gain some more levels or whatever, you don't have second chance yet, something like that. Yuffie's always good for that. Just put on the tech boost, go farm guard up her kunai, and she's a good little XP sponge there. So other than that, just don't let her heal, and it should just be an Aroga and mash X.
Cooking on Yuffie there.
The only other difficult seed would be seed 40. Behemoth, who's supposed to be the little mini boss before the checkpoint, right? Once you beat him, you don't have to restart at 49. You can start back at 40, which is great. It's the same as when you fought the Behemoth before. You just smack its little horn at the top. He's just a giant damage sponge. You just have to go put the 15-20 minutes in of hitting the horn, and you'll get through it just fine. Moving on, once you defeat Behemoth, you go on to seeds 39 to 30. Again, same thing. If you have Aroga and you're ready to mash X again, you should be a breeze through these. Most of the enemies can hit you. The only ones that can would be when you get to Sneak Army. It's the invisible chameleon guy. When he shoots the white beams of light out of his eyes, those can hurt through Aroga. And when he shoots the green blast on the ground, those can hurt through Aroga. So just be careful with those. Get your timing down, and he's also pretty much a pushover. Other than that, you'll get to seed 30. The mini boss for this one is Cerberus. Again, same as before. He's just a damage sponge. Beat him however you beat him last time. Just be careful with the dark balls and the dark portals beneath your feet. If you do get double tapped by those, you might run into some problems. He does a ton of damage as always, so just hop on his back is what I did, and then you can spam Gravira if you want. It's a little tough to time. I don't want you to waste magic. Other than that, when he finally goes down to snap his jaws at you, you can go down and get some hits in, and then it's just cycle that over until he falls. Again, it's one of those bosses that's 15 to 20 minutes, and if you die, it's kind of annoying because you have to go all the way back and then put in another 15-20 minutes. So please take this one carefully. This is where the patience comes in. Just do the cycle until he dies. So after you beat Cerberus, you'll be moving on to seeds 29 and 20. This, in my opinion, is where the actual Hades Cup begins, because you finally get into your first run ender, which is Cloud and Leon at seed 20. The only notable one before that is seed 24, Opposite Armor. He's not insanely difficult or even more difficult than the other challenges before this. If you use Aroga, most of his stuff is blocked. The only problem with him is it's one of those guys that just takes a while to kill. So losing to Cloud and Leon and having to go back through him every time is very mentally taxing. So just make sure that you're ready to fight Opposite Armor a couple times. That being said, seed 20, Leon and Cloud, definitely by far one of the harder fights in this entire cup. So a couple tips to get through that. One, noticing Cloud is far more difficult than Leon. My first one that I went through, and definitely the reason I died, is that I focused Cloud first. This is something you do not want to do. Please do not target Cloud first. Trying to juggle his DM, his Omni Slash where he gets all electricity and he flies around at you, trying to juggle that and Leon running at you with his sword, super tough to figure out. It is a big mistake. Don't go after Cloud first. Try to keep his DM from happening by not attacking him, and just focus Leon, because Leon is an absolute pushover. The guy still staggers all the time. You can combo him a good amount before he even counters back, and luckily Aroga blocks most of his regular attacks, even his DM regular attacks. Aroga blocks, so the only ones that can even really hit you are after you've comboed him a couple times and he counters attacks back at you, or when he does his big lunging attack jump that can also get through your Aroga. So other than that, his fireball, his basic attacks, all blockable by just a Roga. So you can literally just walk up to him and start mashing X to win. So go after him first. Try to just make sure Cloud is either occupied with your buddies or he's done comboing and you get a couple seconds to go fight. Just make sure that he's not on your tail, because Cloud's almost all of his attacks, I actually think all of his attacks, hit through a Roga. So you just have to be super careful with him. Once Leon goes down, now it's a 1v1 with Cloud, which is super nice because you can solely focus on his combos, his timing, and his DM. Make sure your buddies are alive or as often as possible. One, they do a bit of chip damage, but two, Goofy will keep giving you that MP like we talked about. So please try to keep Goof alive. Normally I would actually heal Donald to then heal Goof and try to keep them all going, because Donald can sometimes be helpful. But anyway, getting into the Cloud fight, the big difference now is he doesn't stagger as often, which makes him pretty hard to get hits in with your Keyblade. It seems like every 2 normal staggers you'll get a stagger now. So that means before, when he would do his Sonic Blade, his 4 dashes at you, if you blocked about 3 of those or 4 of those, he would just instantly stagger. Or if you went into his little sword combo and blocked one of those, he would stagger. Now it seems like you have to block all of his dashes, and then when he stops and swings at you immediately after, if you block that, then he'll be open up for a stagger. So just be a bit more patient when you go in, get a couple chip hits in, and then just be ready to guard. That should be all you need to do for that part of him. His timing is not super difficult on the 1v1. So the hard part is his Omni Slash, where he comes flying after you. As far as I can tell, he hits 5 times now, and he needs about 3 or 4 to kill you. So as long as you usually have second chance on and block 2, or your friends take a hit or 2, you should be okay, as long as you have full health. So once you see him about to come flying at you, make sure you have your Roga up fresh, make sure you have a heal on, and then you should be able to at least tank 3 of those. So at least block 1 or 2, dodge, do whatever you can. Maybe you need a little luck. I did. There's definitely a clip where I should have died, but he swung and missed somehow. So you may need a little bit of luck, but other than that, if you can get through the DMs and his timing down, 1v1, he's not unbeatable. Come on, God. Let's go. Oh my God. Once you get through that, honestly, the next 10 rounds are pretty easy. With Cloud and Leon down, honestly, you've probably defeated the second hardest fight in this game. So this next couple ones are sort of a wash. 19 through 10, just use your Roga, mash X to win. The only tough ones that we can get into are Seed 16, which is Darkstorm. It's where all of the Dark Balls start to spawn. Basically, the only round that's kind of hard is the final round of this, but an easy way to get through that is to either spam stop as soon as they spawn and then just start hitting all of them, or what I did was just as soon as they spawn, just jump around and spam Gravira. Gravira's gonna be super helpful. It'll hit 2 or 3 maybe if you're lucky, and then that'll boost them down to like, you know, half damage or less. So then you can go clean up the last of the damage with the Keyblade. It'll cut down their numbers severely, and hopefully you're only left with 1 or 2 full health Dark Balls at the end of all that. So just spam Gravira on those and you should be okay. The other one, you will have seen them before. I guess this is more of a thing. The Angel Stars and Invisibles come into play. They are super tough. The Angel Stars on their own are pretty easy. Aroga, you know, cuts the Angel Stars attacks mostly down. I think there's one Tornado one that does hit through Aroga that you do have to be careful of, but other than that, most of the stuff is blocked by Aroga. But the Invisibles, those are the new Heartless with the big swords that can kind of disappear, and then there's like a circle of darkness. I don't really know what it is, but it's kind of annoying. They do have a ton of health and their swords hit pretty hard, so definitely if you see one, I would suggest you focus on them first. Definitely take them down before anyone else. Easiest way to do that is hit them with a gravity magic. It'll cut them at least in half. If you can get 2 in a row, they'll be down to only a couple hits. So if you see one, just hit it with gravity and you'll be okay. Definitely kill them first. So then once you get through that, you'll be at seed 10, which is Hades, which is, I always thought was weird that Hades was seed 10 in this cup, even though it's his cup. But honestly, he should be further back if Cloud and Leon are seed 20, because I think Cloud and Leon are far harder than this. Hades has essentially 4 attacks. He has fire hands, which is where he makes like a wall of fire with both of his hands. He has finger guns, where he shoots a fireball, a little fire dot at you. And then he has an actual fireball, where he throws a large fireball at you, and then fire spin, which is the iconic one where he puts both his arms out and a giant basically wheel of fire spins around the entire arena. So for fire hands, the opening comes in with the second opening of his hands, so he'll bring his hands together and then out and then together, and then once he goes out, that's the end of it. You can hop in there and get a quick combo in. Be careful though, don't get caught in it, because it does a bunch of damage really quickly and it's hard to get out of. You can get stun locked. The finger guns one is actually a weird one. The finger guns fires in a direct line, so it's kind of easy to dodge, but if the timing gets wrong and you're charging at him to do a combo and he's going to use his finger guns, they do a ton of damage and it hits you really fast. So if you're going to run up to hit him and he hasn't done an attack in a while, I would suggest just running from side to side or doing some dodges side to side, because it does only attack in a straight line, and if you move even a little bit, usually it'll miss, but it does do a ton of damage if you get hit by it. The fireball is usually only used when he is in his angry form with the red hair. That one's pretty much a wash. If you have a Roga on, it'll completely send it back to him, or you can guard it. It's a slow, it's not very fast, so and it will stun him, and you'll allow to get 2 or 3 combos in just off that. So he's definitely easy to farm in the hot hit stage. Other than that, the final one is the fire spin. This one can be difficult, but honestly, you just have to get close to him, right? When he stops what he's doing and goes to the middle of the arena, get behind him. I don't know why I get behind him. You can get in front of him, but just get close to him, and then when he starts to spin, just stay in a tight circle around him, and you'll be able to make Sora go fast enough to keep up. So if you do get caught in that, it's usually a death sentence. Just keep your Roga up and mash X. You can Blizzard, but usually you'll be healing or using a Roga to make sure that you stay alive at this point, because you don't want to go all the way back. If you have the MP, you can do it. If you feel like you got his timing down, you can do it. It's honestly not worth it. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does stun his attack a little bit, but not for very long. So you can decide on that one. I didn't Blizzard as much, but once you beat him, I think you get Graviga, which is super helpful. Then you'll be on to seeds 10 through 1. In seeds 10 through 1, there are definitely several hard fights, but usually Roga does a good job at blocking most of the stuff, even at this level. Again, if you've seen Invisible, make sure to gravity and kill it first before going on to the other ones. The hard ones in these rounds are seed 5, which is Blackstorm, which is a bunch of Dark Balls and Shadows. Again, once the last round of Dark Balls / Shadows come in, make sure that you are locking on, switching locks, and try to gravity them as much as you can. That'll hopefully cut down their numbers and HP a good amount, and then you can sweep up with the Keyblade. The hardest fight, in my opinion, even though I died to Cloud and I didn't die here, I should have died here, is C2 Final Battalion. This is a large spawn of Angel Stars, Invisibles, and Dark Balls, and the final round of this is pretty crazy. There's a ton of Angel Stars, a ton of Invisibles, and a ton of Dark Balls all coming at you. By this point, you're probably exhausted on MP and items, so it is very tough. That is why it's so important to have Goofy, have the MP gifts, because it'll save your life. Other than that, make sure you take out the Invisibles first. As soon as they spawn in, try to get a Gravity in or 2. Same with the Dark Balls. After that, sweep up what you can with the Keyblades, but I would say always try to focus the Invisibles first, and then if you're out of MP and you're out of options, all your friends are dead, just dodge for your life until they get back up. That's what I did. Just run around, try to dodge everything you can. Hopefully your buddies will get back up, give you a heal, give you an Aroga, or a Goofy will give you some MP, and you can get back into the fight. So don't be afraid to just dodge if you have to. I know you're super far into this tournament, you don't want to lose, so just do whatever you can to win, because once you get through this, you basically do a victory lap with Seed 1 Rock Titan. It is an absolute just cakewalk of a fight. I don't even think with second chance that you could die here. It would take just a complete mental lapse of not healing after you take a hit, and it would take 2 or 3 of those anyway. The only way you can even get hit multiple times quickly is with the head, right? Once you knock him over, you can go attack the heads at the top. Those do smash their chins down a couple times. However, if you get hit by one, usually it launches you off anyway, so you can't even get hit by the others. It would be very hard to die here, but just keep track of your HP and then just keep hitting him in the ankles until he dies. Other than that, once you're through with him, you've done it. Basically, once you beat C2, you've done it. Beat the Rock Titan, take your victory lap, and you've done it. You beat Hades Cup. Unchanging Armor, it is a grind. It took me about 3 hours, so if you die at any point along the way, don't forget to up your items again before you go back in. But it all boils down to about 3 main fights, right? Cloud and Leon, Hades, and the Final Battalion. Those are probably the 3 run enders that you'll run into, and I think we went over those a good amount. So yeah, other than that, that's how I do it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, I guess. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.